Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and we're back with some Warcry goodies. It's just about the only GW game that I really can't seem to shake myself off of, and probably it's because they just keep putting out weird, interesting stuff. And as further point of proof of that concept, we have the Gorger Mawpack today. And what a lovely gentleman we seem to have on the cover there, covered in bones and teeth, and not much else. I have always been an Ogre fan. They're big, they're simple, they go from point A to point B, and they don't require a lot of other things to worry about. We've got the Howler, which seems to be a female Ogre, possibly, and a lot nicer looking than the old man-eater model. We've got the Clawback, who literally has claws stuck in his back, hence the name, and big giant weapons to bash enemies with. I don't know whose that is, but this is going to be the Gorgers. So that's it. That's the whole warband. A whopping 5 models. But I'm okay with that because, well, they're going to be fun. They're going to be interesting. And 5 models is a lot easier to paint than 15. Let's take a look. So just like most warbands for Warcry, we have 2 full sprues, not the half ones. And you can see here that there is plenty of fun to be had. I like that we're going for a bit more menacing, feral look to the Gorgers. Trying to think, weren't they like old models, like kind of feral ones that they kept chained up or something that the typical Ogres had access to? Like even looking at these heads, looking at the hair, looking at the facial expressions, they seem to be a kind of continuation of the theme of the originals, which I hate to say are, you know, getting a little long in the tooth. They are still fun models, though. So let's see what we got here. I don't see any instructions. I'm hoping the instructions are in this secret envelope. That just says the card pack, though. That I can't obviously open like a normal human. Alright. Okay, well that answered that question. The instructions are tucked away. And one thing to note, these aren't your ordinary, typical Ogres. I was going to say trolls. They are on 50mm bases. Excuse me for the sudden jolt as I had a massive sneeze attack there. Oh, no, I guess everybody is. There are 5 50mm bases included. So, I don't know how many optional bits there are. We have one guy who has the option of either an open fist or a club. That's good to see. Just flipping through here. Okay, that's kind of cool. We have optional weapon heads. We have another option for a club or hand-to-hand. You know I'm going club. There's one we saw before. And our final one is, again, with either a weapon or with tooth and nail, because I've been in a Kingdom Death mood. I'm curious, then, if there's going to be a big difference in going hand-to-hand or going, I guess so. Because aren't these all the same? I feel like these 3 are the same type of model. Interesting. Stats are totally different. See, weapon. He's got the big one. 22648, 13536, 14435, and it looks like, well, these 2 at least have the same ability, whereas this guy has 2. So, take of that what you will. Gorger Mawpack. Okay. Anyway, enough with that. Let us get these models built, because worst case scenario, even if they aren't super hot when it comes to actually playing Warcry, which, truth be told, despite having a good half dozen completely finished warbands at that, I might add you. Like everything in the box finished painted. I have yet to play an official game of it. I have used the models in plenty of other things. Don't get me wrong. Used them in Song of Blades and Heroes. Used them for OPR stuff. But I've never actually played an official game of Warcry, which is really sad because I've mentioned before on this channel, I probably have at least 3 different starter sets at this point. And I hate to say it, but I was already eyeing that new one with the Bone Reaper guys and the Centaur dude and the big walking tree and the Beekeeper for the Sylvaneth guys. So we might end up with a 4th. Anyways, let me get our big Gorger friends all put together here, and we shall see how they turn out. So sit tight. Okay, so we put the Maw Tribe Gorgers all together here, and after quickly referencing that, in fact, yes, the feral wild ones were in fact the Gorgers and not whatever name I insisted upon earlier, I'm pretty impressed with them. They're quite the big models. So I figured in honor and deference to the original Gorgers, I had to have at least one feral one with just the claws. The blindfold, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn that the original metal / fine cast Gorgers, there was a blindfolded face. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do love the fact that they absolutely are filling up these. Oh, I forgot to put them. Well, obviously this model is not complete. I thought I finished everything, but that's what, spot checking your videos ahead of time gets you, I guess. No, I have the pieces laying around. There weren't a whole lot of leftover pieces, but we will fix that really quick. I was going to say, though, they do quite the nice job of filling out the basic 50mm base. So if you're in the market for just big, I don't want to say generic, but very specifically styled, feral, wild-looking ogres, I think this is a nice set here. Yeah, I guess it's a bit pricey. You do get all the paperwork included for playing Warcry. It's just kind of funny looking at these dudes and then like grabbing the original Ogre Kingdom stuff. Because I want to say the original Gorgers were also on 40mm bases. If I remember correctly, and if you want to correct me, by all means, please do. It's been a few years since the Age of Sigmar, and I'm just now realizing that I didn't bother to plug in the microphone that I'm sitting here articulating and gesturing towards, which is kind of embarrassing. But that's okay. I figure I'm going to be loud enough. Deal with it, folks. So, we have 3 basic Gorgers. As we said earlier, you do have the option of having them equipped with weapons. Oh, which I didn't bother to actually attach, but that's okay because you do have quite a few variable ones. Our friend right here, this is the only one that actually has a very specific weapon included. Thankfully, I have the parts right here. You can see here. So this is the leftover loincloth there. After building all the kits, I believe we have 3 spare heads. And again, another with a blindfold. So plenty of options there. And then I did manage to scrounge up the weapon bits. So you can see here, the way it works is they basically just kind of clip on. They are modular in that regard. Most of them are just big hunks of rock strapped to a shaft of wood by metal pieces, I guess, for lack of a better word. So we got our 3 Gorgers, and then we have what is called the Cave Howler. And like I said, I feel like it's supposed to be a female. It's got all of its naughty bits all covered up there. If you're into ogre naughty bits, I won't kink shame you or anything, but, whatever. It is kind of nice not having weird bulbous proportions sticking off of them. They are still a bit cartoony, but that was something that I always enjoyed. And finally, we have the biggest of the bunch, and that is the Clawback, who I want to say had the option of either coming in with no weapons or, you can customize them up as I did. Got the jawbones there attached as a necklace. Cape as well. Definitely going to go back and clip things, but yeah, this thing is absolutely massive in comparison. So something to bear in mind. Grabbing the more basic Gorger model right here. Give you guys a good idea. Just do a quick lineup. So the traditional Iron Gut, I think it was an Iron Gut, wasn't it? The traditional Ogre Kingdom Warrior. Sorry, Ogre Maw Tribe Warriors. I mean, in size are about comparable. You can absolutely see there's a big difference in the bulk and width of the model. For as big as they are, they're not as big as the Age of Sigmar Trolls from GW. We're just trying to stick with other GW models for the moment. Not because that's all we have. Oh, here, fine. Just to prove the point. If you're familiar with the Conquest models, they've got some very large, brutish ogre figures from a variety of factions. The more orcish Wadroon ones with literal pillars of marble and cement strapped to their arms. If you want a more Mesoamerican vibe, you can go with these guys. Grabbing a couple other GW models. Let's see what we got here. Got some of the non-Warcry but Underworlds greenskins hanging around. Looking for my Witch Hunter General, who is right here. So you can see they are still big models in comparison to a traditional human-sized GW figure. So kind of a nice way to see what you're getting yourselves into. I think due to their size, due to the bulk, I mean, I don't feel like they're super overpriced. Sure, they may have lower numbers than a lot of the other Warcry warbands, but to me that's almost an advantage because, well, gives me a chance to actually get them painted then. I am not going to comment on how many unpainted ones. I know I did make mention of the fact that I've got a fair amount painted. There's probably just as many unpainted. So hopefully we will deal with that soon. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see these. I picked up some new paints to play around with. I really like the kind of off-white, you know, pallid flesh that the studio paints up the Maw tribes with, at least these guys. So I'm hoping I can do something similar, but, you know, very fun, dynamic looking models, even though they have some very wonky build choices. Yeah, everything ends up seamless. I don't like the way that you have to glue the legs to the back of the torso prior to, you know, building the rest of the body. That just irks me. Can you get around it? Sure. Is it ideal? I don't know. I kind of yearn for the days of very simple, modular, you know, everybody's got the same body type, everybody's got the same gut plate, everybody's got the same feet, and you can swap those arms and heads like there's no tomorrow with every other kit in the range. Part of me really wants to go back and build another ogre army, but I'm going to try to err on the side of caution because I've been down that road and I've already reached its end and conclusion once. I don't need to do it again. But for these guys, at least, they really kind of fill that niche of big, bulky, disturbing models that probably I can get painted and probably can actually get to the tabletop. Because as I've said, I've got so much Warcry stuff. And if I get my way, we will be doing some sort of gaming stuff with the kids at school. So fingers crossed in that regard. And like I said, if you ever want to see this stuff painted, it should show up on Mondays in an inevitable weekly painting progress. And maybe I didn't mention that, but I am now. So there you go. And with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.